My neighbor asked me to drive him to the airport. When I got home, I found my car reported stolen, my license suspended. I needed a clean break, he said in a voicemail. I hired a PI, found his real destination, and when I sent the report to his employer, the PI called me 5 days later. He didn't waste time. Your guy didn't fly to Phoenix like he said. He rented a car at the airport under a different name. Real name's Thomas Glenn Wexler. Drove straight to Bozeman, Montana. Checked into a cabin rental under the same alias. Why Bozeman? I asked, though I didn't expect an answer. The PI hesitated. He met someone there. A woman. I ran her info. She's got ties to a corporate compliance firm. Her name's Heather. Last name's redacted for now. I asked, is he on the run? No, he said. But he's hiding. From someone. Possibly from work. That's when it started to come together in pieces. Tom, or Thomas, worked in finance at a local insurance company. Pretty high up if I remembered right. Always dressed sharp, always checking his phone during those neighbor barbecues. He used to joke about having 2 phones and 1 real life. I told the PI, can you confirm where he works? He did. Then he asked, you want me to pull anything else? I said, no. Just email me what you've got. I stared at that report for hours. It had photos, grainy shots of him walking out of the cabin in jeans and a flannel shirt, arm around that woman. A new name. A different face even. No more khakis, no more polos. Like he'd buried the man I used to know. I forwarded the whole report to HR at his company. I used a burner email. No message, no explanation. Just sent the files with 1 line in the subject. You might want to know who you're paying. 2 weeks passed. Nothing. Then, one morning, I checked the company's website. His name was gone. Just scrubbed off the leadership page. I called a contact I knew there, someone I'd helped move a couch once. She said quietly, he's not with us anymore. Legal's handling it. What happened? I shouldn't say. But they think he took client funds. Like, a lot. That same day, I got another voicemail. Tom again. No greeting this time. I know what you did. You always were the quiet type. Should have expected it. You don't understand what was happening. You weren't supposed to be involved. This was bigger than me. I just needed a way out. He paused. If anything else comes out, that's on you. He hung up. I played that voicemail 10 times. My hands were shaking. Bigger than him? A way out? I started thinking about the license suspension. The stolen report. Someone had to file that. I called the DMV again. Spoke to a guy who actually seemed to care. I gave him the case number from my file. He went quiet for a minute, then said, this was submitted online. Under your name. Using a notarized form. I didn't notarize anything. I figured. The notary doesn't exist. He sent me the form. It had my name, my fake signature, and a notarization stamp that was blurred out at the edges. He forged it. My neighbor, who once helped me shovel my driveway, who I'd let into my home, forged my name, reported my car stolen to cover his tracks, then used that chaos to vanish. And somehow, that still wasn't the worst part. I started thinking backwards. Obsessively. About the day he asked for the ride. The way he stood by his car, but didn't drive it. His wife being out of town, I hadn't seen her in weeks. And that weird moment when he made me stop at a gas station, even though we had enough fuel. He'd gotten out, said he needed gum. Was gone 5 minutes. Had he planted something? Set something up? I called the PI again. Told him everything. He asked me one question. Have you checked your VIN? I hadn't. I didn't even think to. He told me where to look. I went outside with a flashlight, popped the windshield cover. It didn't match. The number on the glass didn't match the one on my registration. I nearly dropped the flashlight. I ran around to the driver's side door, opened it, looked at the sticker inside the frame. Different number again. The PI called it in. The car in my driveway wasn't mine. It was the same color, same model, same year, even had the same dent on the back fender from when I clipped that mailbox last fall. But it wasn't my car. Mine was gone. Replaced. He'd swapped it at the gas station. That 5-minute stop. I don't know how, I don't know who helped him, but he made the switch while I sat in the front seat waiting. The title I had was real, but the vehicle was not. The car in my driveway had once belonged to a woman in Oregon, reported stolen 6 months earlier. I didn't know what to do with that information. The PI said, "He burned your paper trail. If this gets flagged, they'll think you stole it." I said nothing. He added, "He set you up." So I called the detective handling the original stolen car report. I gave them the fake VIN and the voicemail. I told them about Tom and about the swapped vehicle. 2 days later, they called back. "We're investigating," the officer said. "Do you have proof he made the switch?" I gave them the gas station time, the footage request, everything. I filed a fraud claim. But part of me already knew Tom was long gone. He'd buried himself deep. And then I did something I didn't think I'd ever do. I drove to his wife's sister's house. She lived about an hour away, in Ames. I hadn't talked to her in months, but I remembered the street. She answered the door in pajamas, looked like she hadn't slept. "He's not in Phoenix, is he?" I asked. She stared at me like I'd just asked her if the sky was blue.
"No," she said.
"He left her too." "Left who?" She blinked. "My sister. His other wife." I felt my stomach turn. I stood there on her porch, staring at her. "Other wife." I repeated, like the words didn't register. She looked around like someone might be listening, then stepped aside.
"Come in."
"But don't stay long. I don't want to be in the middle of whatever this is." Her house was small, quiet, smelled like Vicks and lavender. I sat on the couch while she went into the kitchen and came back with an old manila folder. She dropped it on the coffee table without a word. Inside were photos, emails, printed receipts, a wedding certificate, all with different dates. Same man, same face, Tom. Or Thomas. Or whoever he really was. He married her sister, Rachel, back in 2013. They had a small ceremony. 2 years later, he traveled for work and started renting an apartment in Des Moines under another name. He told Rachel he was managing a team remotely. Said he needed quiet. She believed him, she said. She always believed everything. My hands were shaking as I looked through it all. "This is bigamy," I said. "He committed a felony." She gave me a tired smile. "You think this is the worst thing he's done?" She told me Rachel hadn't seen him in almost 3 months. Just disappeared. No warning. Same as with me. She thought he died. Or maybe that he was kidnapped. She even filed a missing person report. The room started to feel too warm. "What's his real name?" I asked. She shrugged. "You probably know better than me now. But he used Glenn Thomas Wexler on his license. Sometimes just Glenn. Sometimes Thomas Glenn." I stood to leave. But before I got to the door, she said, "He took everything. Cleaned out their joint account. Left her with nothing but the mortgage and a couch." I said, "He left me with a stolen car and a suspended license." She laughed once, not because it was funny, but because it wasn't. As I drove back, something inside me shifted. It wasn't just about getting back at him anymore. It wasn't just revenge. This guy wasn't a liar or a thief in the way most people are. He didn't just run. He replaced himself. Multiple times. And now there were 2 victims I knew about. There had to be more. When I got home, I opened the PI report again. I forwarded it to the missing persons department in Ames. I included the voicemail, the photos, the email I sent to his work. I said in the message, "This man may have multiple identities. He staged a disappearance. He left more than one life behind. I'm not sure who he really is, but you need to find out before he makes another clean break." That night, someone rang my doorbell. I opened the door and froze. It wasn't him. It was the woman from Bozeman. The one from the photos. She held up a folder and said, "We need to talk about Tom." She was younger than I expected. Early 30s, maybe. Dressed in jeans and a raincoat, hair tied back. Her eyes were swollen, like she'd been crying for hours. "I drove all night," she said. "I found your address in the report you sent. The one you leaked to his employer." I stepped aside without a word. She walked in like she didn't want to sit, like if she stopped moving, she might break down. I'm not here to yell, she said. I need to understand who he is. Who he was with you. His name was Tom, I said slowly. He borrowed my car, told me he needed a ride to the airport. Then he reported it stolen, forged my signature, and vanished. She nodded. Same pattern. He told me he was working in Des Moines but keeping it low-key because of company pressure. I believed him. We lived together for 8 months. I blinked. You lived with him? Off and on. I work in compliance. He said that's how we met, remember? She pulled out a photo. This is us in December. I stared at the photo. It was Tom, all right, holding her close in front of a snow-covered cabin, wearing the same watch he used to brag about during neighborhood barbecues. Do you know how many names he used? I asked. At least 4. Glenn Wexler, Thomas Glenn, Paul Everett, and one I found on a storage unit receipt, James Lang. She looked down at her hands. I thought I was helping him recover from burnout. He used to talk about reinventing himself, starting fresh. I thought it was trauma. Turns out it was strategy. I asked, did he steal from you? She nodded. About $27,000. But not all at once. Little by little. He'd Venmo himself with my card linked, then delete the history. Or say he was using it for travel bookings and cancel them later. I sat down slowly. She walked over to my kitchen counter, set down the folder. This is everything I've gathered. Bank statements, receipts, photos. I've got emails from his fake accounts, too. Why come here? I asked. Why now? Because I think I found out where he's going next. I leaned forward. What do you mean? He booked a ferry to Alaska under the name James Lang. Leaves in 3 days. That didn't surprise me. It fit the pattern. Remote. Isolated. A new identity. She added. I also found an email he drafted but never sent. It was addressed to someone named Rachel. Sound familiar? His other wife. She froze. You're sure? She's real. I met her sister. She thought he was dead.
Her hands shook now. Jesus.
This guy's not just a con man. He's a system. He builds lives like other people build resumes. I looked at her. You want to stop him? I asked. She nodded. I opened my drawer and took out the flash drive with the PI's full report. I've got a contact in the sheriff's office in Ames. He's skeptical, but he listens. I'll make sure he gets this. She hesitated, then added quietly. And there's one more thing.
What?
He mentioned you once. Said he had a neighbor who paid attention to the wrong things. I think he always knew you'd figure it out. We worked fast. The woman, her name was Sierra, stayed in a motel on the edge of town. We met every night in my kitchen, piecing together timelines, comparing emails, linking bank withdrawals. We made a shared folder for the detective in Ames and kept updating it. I felt like I was living 2 lives. One during the day, pretending everything was fine at work, and one at night, unraveling the disaster that used to be my neighbor. Sierra got a message from one of Tom's old burner accounts. Just a single line, leaving soon. Don't follow. That told us he was watching his inbox. Maybe even her location. He's scared, I said. No, she replied. He's slipping. 2 days later, we got a hit. The PI called. Your guy booked a one-way rental from Bozeman to Bellingham. Ferry to Ketchikan, leaves the next morning. He's traveling under the Lang ID. I confirmed it with someone at the dock. We sent it all to the detective. The response was tepid at best. We'll alert local authorities, but without an active warrant, our hands are limited. Alaska's out of jurisdiction. I was furious. Sierra slammed her fist on the table. He'll disappear again, she said. He's done it before. That's when I said something I didn't think I would. Then we go ourselves. We left the next day. Sierra drove. I sat in the passenger seat, watching towns blur past, gripping that flash drive like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. We got to Bellingham just after midnight, parked near the terminal. The docks smelled like oil and seaweed. We found a spot where we could see the line of passengers waiting for the early morning ferry. And there he was. Khakis.
A fishing capítulo. Holotek.
Calm as ever, chatting with someone in line. Sierra's breathing got sharp. He looks so normal. He wants to look normal, I said. We called the PI again. Put him on speaker. We see him. We're looking at him. He was quiet. Then, "You sure you want to do this?" "We don't have a choice," Sierra said. "No one else will stop him." The PI said, "Record everything. Don't approach. Just document. If he tries to board, send it to me. I'll push it through state contacts." Sierra pulled out her phone and started filming. Tom looked over once, just a glance. He didn't recognize the car. He didn't see us. Not yet. Then suddenly he left the line. Walked toward the ferry office. Talking to someone on the phone. That's when it happened. 2 plainclothes officers came out of the office. Quietly. They didn't make a scene. Just walked up behind him. One tapped his shoulder. He turned. Smiled. But then his body went stiff. He dropped the phone.
And ran.
He made it maybe 50 feet before they tackled him on the wet pavement. Sierra's hands flew to her mouth. I kept filming. The sound of cuffs clicking was the only thing I could hear. It was over. Or we thought it was. We watched from the car as they dragged him to a black SUV.
No sirens.
No warning. Just silence and steel. Sierra was shaking. "They got him," she whispered. "It's done." But I wasn't so sure. The officers didn't come over to take statements. No one asked us for footage. No one even looked our way. I called the PI. Told him what happened. He didn't sound surprised. "I pushed it through someone I trust in State Patrol," he said. "But here's the thing. They're not charging him here. They're extraditing him. Back to Oregon. That's where the first fraud charges started." "What about the rest?" I asked. "The bigamy? The theft? What about my name being dragged through hell?" "That's the problem," he said quietly. "The Oregon case is airtight. Everything else that's scattered. Separate jurisdictions. Some of it won't even make it to court." I hung up. Sierra and I sat in the car without speaking. Eventually she said, "He's not going to pay for all of it." "No," I said. "Not even close." Back home, things didn't go back to normal. My license got reinstated, eventually. But the DMV wouldn't admit fault. Just told me the suspension was cleared. The car, the fake one, was impounded. I still haven't gotten my original back. Sierra moved out of her place. She said she was done chasing ghosts. We talk sometimes, but less and less. I think we remind each other of what we almost lost. As for Tom, or Glenn, or whoever he ends up being, I read in a court filing that he took a plea deal. 18 months, maybe less with time served. He's going to walk out a free man again. He's probably already building the next version of himself. A new name, a new neighbor, someone else to borrow a car from. People ask me why I care so much, why I didn't just let it go. But here's the truth. It wasn't about the car. Or the license. It was about the way he looked at me that morning at the airport, like I was just a loose end.